The joke gift. Rena stood in a cold metal cage, her hands tied behind her back. Her skin was bruised, her silver hair dirty. Around her, the alien soldiers laughed. Their armor was shiny, their faces full of pride. Today, they were giving her away, like a pet. Like a joke. Across the room stood a human soldier, chained and silent. His name was Captain Mason. He was tall, with brown skin and tired eyes. He didn't speak. He only watched. "This is for you, human," said the alien general with a cruel smile. "A gift. We know what you humans like." The crowd laughed loudly. One soldier shouted, "Enjoy your new toy." The cage door opened with a hiss. 2 guards pushed Rena forward and she stumbled toward Mason. She fell at his feet. The aliens expected him to hurt her, to show his rage, to act like a beast, but he didn't move. He slowly knelt beside her and looked into her eyes. She expected anger, but she saw something else. Pity. Rena didn't understand. Why would a human feel sorry for her? She was the enemy. Her people had fought humans for years. They called humans monsters, killers, beasts. But this man was different. Mason gently untied her hands. She pulled back thinking he would hit her, but he didn't. Instead, he gave her a small piece of bread from his pocket. Her eyes widened. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. Was this a trick? She took the bread slowly, her fingers shaking. He sat beside her, silent. Rena looked at him again. His eyes were tired, not cruel, just tired. They were both taken to the prison camp, a dark place under the alien sky. The air smelled of metal and fire. The cells were made of hard stone. Rena was placed in the same room as Mason. 2 enemies sitting side by side. The guards locked the door and walked away, still laughing. "Good luck with your pet," one guard said with a sneer. Rena sat in the corner, hugging her knees. She didn't sleep. She kept watching Mason. What did he want? Why didn't he say anything? Why didn't he try to use her? Was he planning something worse? But then, he did something strange. He took off his own coat and gently placed it around her shoulders. Rena froze. Why? Why was he being kind? The next day he shared water with her. The day after that he gave her part of his food. He never touched her, never raised his voice, never called her names. He just treated her like a person. One night, Rena finally spoke. "Why?" Mason looked at her surprised. "Why what?" he asked softly. "Why are you helping me?" she said. He didn't answer at first, then he looked at the sky through the prison bars and said, "Because you look scared. And I'm tired of fear." Rena didn't understand everything he said, but she felt the meaning. She was scared, and he was tired. Days passed. Rena started to speak more. Mason taught her simple human words. She learned food, water, cold, safe. He learned her name. She learned his. Rena started to trust him, just a little. But deep inside, she was still afraid. Is this all an act? She thought. Will he turn on me later? Her own people gave her to him as a joke. They expected her to be broken. But now, something was changing. In both of them. One night, she had a nightmare. She screamed and woke up shaking. Mason moved closer, not to hurt her, but to comfort her. He didn't touch her, he just said one word, safe. And somehow she believed him. But outside their cell, the alien guards watched them closely. They saw how the 2 enemies sat together, ate together, even smiled sometimes. One guard said, "This human is dangerous. He's making her forget who she is." The other replied, "Let them play. Soon the general will come back, and when he does, we'll see what this human is really made of." That night, as Rena lay under the coat Mason gave her, she stared at him. He could have hurt me, she thought, but he didn't. He could have hated me, but he didn't. She closed her eyes, whispering a single thought. Maybe humans are not what we were told. The Quiet Days. Rena sat on the cold floor of the prison cell, holding a small piece of bread in her hand. She stared at it like it was made of gold. No one had ever given her food without asking for something in return. But this, human, he just gave it to her. Days passed inside the prison camp. Time moved slowly, like thick smoke in the air. Rena and Captain Mason remained in the same stone cell. No windows, only one light above their heads that blinked sometimes. The guards came twice a day. They gave one meal, a small one, and walked away laughing. Sometimes they threw the food on the floor. Sometimes they didn't bring any at all. But Mason always gave half of his to Rena. She didn't understand it. No alien she knew would share food with a human. No soldier would help a prisoner. But this man, he wasn't like the others. One morning, Rena woke up coughing. Her body was weak and her skin felt hot. She had a fever. She tried to sit up, but her head was spinning. Mason rushed to her side. "Hey, easy, don't move," he said softly. He dipped a cloth in water and gently placed it on her forehead. Rena flinched. She expected pain, but the touch was gentle, careful. She looked into his eyes. He wasn't faking. He cared. "Why?" "Rest," he said. "I'll watch." And he did. He sat beside her all day, keeping her warm, keeping her safe. Rena didn't remember falling asleep. But when she woke up, she was wrapped in his coat again. The fever was still there, but her heart felt a little lighter. Mason didn't speak much. But when he did, his voice was calm. Not like her people, who shouted, commanded, demanded. He taught her new words every day. He pointed to water. "Water." She repeated, "Wa." "Tear." He smiled. Then bread. "Bread," she said. "Bread?" He laughed a little. "Close." "Bread." "Bread," she said again. "Good." He nodded. Every word she learned made her feel stronger. Every smile made her feel seen. One night they heard shouting outside the cell. Screams. A soldier ran past, bleeding from his arm. Mason stood quickly and moved to the wall, trying to hear better. "What's happening?" Rena whispered. "Something's wrong," he said. Then, silence. The next day the guards didn't come. No food, no voices, nothing. Rena's stomach growled. Mason looked pale. Still, he handed her the last piece of dry bread from his pocket. "Eat," he said. "No," she shook her head. "You eat." He smiled, then broke it in two. "Half each," he said, and they ate in silence. Later that night, Rena couldn't sleep. She sat against the wall, hugging her knees. She looked at Mason and asked, "Why are we enemies?" He was quiet. Then he said, "Because someone powerful decided we are." She frowned. "You hate my people?" Mason looked at her carefully. "I've seen your soldiers kill my friends. I've seen war. But I don't hate you." She didn't know what to say. No one had ever said that to her before. She thought all humans hated all aliens. But this one didn't. And that changed something inside. For the next day, a new guard came. He threw food into the cell and looked at Rena. "She's getting soft." The guard laughed. "The human is training her well." Mason stood up. "Don't speak to her like that," he said, voice firm. The guard stepped forward. "What did you say?" "I said don't talk to her like that." The guard raised his weapon. Rena stepped in front of Mason. The guard blinked in surprise. Two prisoners. Protecting each other? He lowered his weapon and walked away, shaking his head. Rena turned to Mason. "Why did you do that?" "Because no one should be treated like dirt," he said. She nodded, and for the first time in her life she smiled. A real smile. Later that evening, Rena began drawing in the dust on the floor. Simple shapes. Her planet. His planet. A line between them. Mason watched her. "What's that?" "Peace," she said. He looked at her closely. You believe that's possible? She shrugged. I don't know, but maybe. She drew two small circles side by side. Maybe it starts small. That night, the two sat together in silence, not as enemies, not as captor and prisoner, but as something else, something new. A seed of trust was growing, and neither of them knew what it would become. But something was changing. Slowly, quietly, and the universe would never be the same again. The escape. A loud explosion shook the prison camp. Dust fell from the ceiling. The floor trembled under Rena's feet. She looked at Mason. His eyes were sharp, alert. Stay behind me, he said. Outside their cell, alarms screamed. Something was happening. Something big. For weeks, the prison had been quiet. Guards came, gave food, and left. Rena and Mason had learned to survive in silence. They shared food. They shared words. They even shared dreams. But today, everything changed. Boom. Another. Explosion echoed, then shouting, not alien voices, human voices. Rena's heart pounded. Is it your people? She asked, her voice shaking. Mason listened carefully. It might be. Sounds like a rescue team. Suddenly, the prison doors opened with a loud crash. Smoke rolled into the hallway. Sparks flew from broken lights. The sound of weapons firing filled the air, screams, running footsteps. Chaos. Then, a guard appeared in front of their cell. He was injured, holding a blaster, trying to stay upright. Mason grabbed a broken metal pipe from the ground. Rena stood with him. The guard pointed his weapon. Too slow. Mason struck him hard. The guard dropped. The blaster slid across the floor. Rena grabbed it. They looked at each other. Free. They ran through the hallway. Smoke burned Rena's eyes. Sparks flew above. Broken doors. Fallen guards. The sound of battle was everywhere. Where do we go? She shouted. There should be a main exit past the control room, Mason replied. They ran together side by side, through the wreckage of the prison. More human soldiers appeared from the smoke. Captain Mason, one of them shouted. Mason waved. She's with me, don't shoot. The soldiers hesitated. She's one of them. She saved my life, Mason shouted back. The soldier nodded. All right, move. They made it to the control room. Inside, alarms flashed. A human engineer was working fast, disabling the defense systems. Mason looked at Rena. This is it, he said. Once we get outside, a dropship will take us up. Up? She asked. Back to Earth? Rena's eyes widened. She had never seen Earth, only heard stories. Stories of war, of destruction, of humans as monsters. But now, she knew the truth was different. The door burst open again. Alien soldiers. Armed. Rena raised the blaster. Mason stood beside her. They fought together. Blasts filled the room. Smoke, light, pain. One alien fell, then another. Rena felt fear, but she didn't stop. She fought to protect, to survive. She wasn't the same scared girl in a cage anymore. And Mason? He fought like a storm, every move sharp, every step steady. Finally, the room was silent again. The last enemy dropped. A soldier ran in. Dropship is ready, he said. We have to go now. Mason grabbed Rena's hand. Let's go. They ran through the open halls, past fires and broken walls. They reached the landing pad. The sky above was dark and red, full of smoke and flame. A ship hovered low, waiting. The ramp opened. Mason pushed Rena up first. She turned, reached out, and pulled him in. The ramp closed. Engines roared. They lifted into the sky. Inside the ship, soldiers treated Mason's wounds. One medic looked at Rena, confused. She's not human, he said. She's with me, Mason replied. Is she a prisoner? Mason looked at Rena. She was sitting quietly, her eyes on the stars outside. No, he said. She's not a prisoner. She's proof. Proof of what? That not all enemies are enemies. Rena stared out the window as the prison world shrank behind them. It looked so small now, like a memory fading into the dark. She looked at Mason. He was hurt, but alive. She was free, but she wasn't sure where she belonged. What happens now? She asked softly. Mason looked at her and smiled. Now, we go home, Rena whispered. Is Earth safe for me? Mason nodded. As long as I'm with you, yes. In that moment, Rena realized something. She wasn't afraid anymore. Not of humans, not of the future. Because for the first time in her life, someone had chosen to protect her. Not for power, not for control, just because it was right. And that made all the difference. A strange world. Rena stepped onto Earth for the first time. The air felt soft and strange. The sky was blue, so blue it made her eyes hurt. Around her, humans watched in silence. Some looked curious, others looked afraid. She had escaped a prison, but had she entered another? The ship landed in a secret, human base hidden in the mountains. Rena had never seen such tall trees or green hills. Everything smelled fresh, new. Mason walked beside her. Soldiers moved around them, busy with orders and supplies. Stay close, he said. You're safe, here. But not everyone will understand. Rena nodded slowly. Her eyes searched every face. Some soldiers whispered as they passed. One woman pointed and said, Is that one of them? A man replied, Why is she here? Mason heard them but ignored it. He led Rena inside. They entered a white room with glass walls. Scientists stood behind a screen watching. Is she dangerous? One whispered. She's unarmed, said another. But still, an alien. Mason stood between them and Rena. She's not dangerous, he said firmly. She helped me escape. She risked her life. One of the scientists, an older woman named Dr. Lin, stepped forward. Captain Mason, she said calmly, you trust this alien? I do. Then we'll trust you, for now. Rena was taken to a private room. It had soft lights, a bed, clean clothes, no metal cage, no chains. Still, she didn't sleep. She sat by the window, looking up at the night sky. Her home planet was out there. Somewhere. But she didn't miss it. Not anymore. The next day, Mason returned. He brought food. Warm, colorful food. Try this, he said. She picked up a spoon and tasted something sweet and cold. Her eyes widened. This is good, she said. It's ice cream. He smiled. They both laughed. A real laugh. Light. Free. Mason took her on a walk through the base. She saw human children running, playing with small machines. She saw flowers, dogs. Everything was so different from the war machines and gray buildings of her world. Why are you showing me this? She asked. Because I want you to see who we really are, Mason said. Not what the war made us. But not everyone was happy. In the base command room, officers met in secret. We can't keep her here, said one. She's the enemy. She could be useful, another argued. She knows their language, their tech. She's a spy, said a third. The debate grew loud. Finally, a general said, Let's see what she knows first, then decide. Back in her room, Rena sat with Mason. I know they don't want me here, she said softly. I do, he replied. But why? What do you gain? He looked at her seriously. I don't want to gain anything, I just believe you deserve peace, same as us. Rena looked away. No one ever said that to me before. That night she had another nightmare. The prison, the laughter of the guards, being handed to a human like trash. She woke up sweating. Mason was there. He sat beside her, not touching her, just waiting. You're safe, he said. She closed her eyes, breathed slowly. Yes, she whispered. I believe you. The next morning, Dr. Lin returned with a message. Your people sent a signal, she told Rena. They know you're here. Rena froze. What did they say? They demand we return you or they will attack. Silence filled the room. Mason stepped forward. No, she stays. Dr. Lin looked at both of them. This isn't just about her anymore. This could start a war. That evening, Rena sat by herself under a tree. She watched the stars. Her mind was full of fear and confusion. If she stayed, Earth might burn. If she returned, they would kill her. She didn't belong there, or here, or did she? Mason sat beside her again. They want to use you, he said. Both sides. She nodded. But I don't want to be used. I just want to live. He looked at her. Then we'll find a way. Together. A breeze moved through the trees. Soft. Peaceful. And, for the first time, Rena believed something she never thought possible. Maybe she had found a new home. Not a place, but a person. The future heir. Years later, a young child stood between two flags, one human, one alien. His skin was light bronze, his hair silver like his mother's. Around him, leaders of both worlds waited in silence. He was the future heir, the son of Rena and Mason, the child of peace. Earth had changed. The war had ended, not with fire, but with courage. Rena and Mason's story spread across both galaxies. An alien woman given as a joke, and a human man who chose kindness instead of hate. Enemies who became something more. They didn't just escape war, they helped stop it. The rebel movement inside the alien empire grew. Inspired by Rena's bravery, many chose peace over power. They forced the old leaders to step down. A new council formed, one that wanted unity, not conquest. Rena was offered a place in that council. She refused. I don't want a throne, she said. I want a life. She and Mason built a home on Earth, on the edge of a quiet forest, and soon, they welcomed a child, a boy. They named him Aaron, half human, half alien, completely loved. Aaron grew up learning both languages, both cultures. He learned to farm from his human grandparents. He learned ancient alien songs from his mother. He was smart, kind, curious, but he was also watched by both worlds. To some, he was a symbol of hope. To others, he was a threat. One day when Aaron turned 8, a message came. The United Council of Earth and the Alien Alliance planned a peace treaty signing, a final step toward lasting unity. They asked Rena and Mason to attend. More than that, they asked Aaron to stand between them. At first, Rena said no. He's just a child, she told Mason. They'll use him. He's not ready. Mason placed a hand on her shoulder. I wasn't ready when they gave you to me. But you still changed everything. She looked at him, then at their son, laughing in the yard with a wooden bird toy. Maybe he was ready. The day came. The treaty hall stood tall, shining with glass and light. Humans and aliens filled the seats, leaders, soldiers, scientists, children. The world held its breath. Rena wore a soft gray robe, simple but beautiful. Mason wore his old captain's jacket, patched but proud, and Aaron stood between them. Calm, strong. The human president stepped forward. The war lasted many years. We lost many. But we also gained something we never expected. He looked at Rena. At the darkest time, one alien chose peace. One human chose kindness. And now we choose the future. The alien representative stood next. Let this treaty be more than paper. Let it be a promise. They both placed their hands on the treaty tablet. It glowed. Everyone applauded. But in the shadows of the hall, someone watched. A figure, cloaked, eyes sharp, voice low. So this is the heir, the stranger whispered. Let's see how long. Peace lasts. Back at home that night, under the stars, Aaron sat beside Rena. Was I good today? He asked. She smiled. You were perfect. Will there be war again? He asked. She paused. Maybe. But not if people like you lead. People who understand both sides. Aaron looked up. I want to help both. She hugged him tightly. You already are. Mason joined them, placing a hand on Aaron's head. You're the best thing we ever made, he said. The stars above blinked softly. The universe was still vast, still dangerous, but also full of possibility, and as long as people like Aaron existed, there was hope, the warning. A red light blinked on the base control screen. A deep, cold voice came through the speakers. Return the alien woman, or face war. Everyone in the room froze. Rena stood beside Mason. Her eyes were wide with fear. Her people had found her. The message repeated. The alien voice was clear, sharp, and full of hate. You stole one of ours. You hide her. We demand her return. Then it ended. Silence. Mason looked at Rena. She looked at the floor. They'll come, she said quietly. They won't stop. The generals and officers gathered in the meeting room. We can't start a war for one alien, said one. She's not just anyone, Mason said. She risked her life for me. She could be a spy. She saved my life. She's the reason we're in danger now. The room went quiet as General Brooks entered. He looked at Mason and said, You have one day to prove she's worth the risk. That night, Rena sat on her bed, holding a small human toy Mason had given her. A simple thing, a wooden bird. It reminded her of something she had never had. Childhood, peace. She remembered her own people, her leaders, her training. She was raised for war, raised to follow. But now, she didn't want to go back. She didn't belong there anymore. Mason entered the room. They gave us 24 hours, he said. She nodded. They won't wait, she said. They'll attack, that's how they work. Then we'll stop them, he replied. She looked up, afraid. No, they will kill your people. Because of me. You are not the reason. They are. And we'll fight, if we have to. Meanwhile, far away in deep space, a massive alien fleet moved toward Earth. Inside the lead ship, a tall alien commander watched the stars. Bring her back, he growled. She is the bloodline. Back on Earth, Mason and Rena sat in a quiet lab with Dr. Lin. She showed Rena something on a screen. This is your DNA, she said. You're not just any alien, you're royal. Rena's eyes widened. What? You carry a bloodline, Dr. Lin said. You're the next in line for leadership in your empire. Rena shook her head. I don't want it. But they do, Mason said. That's why they want you back. Not because you're a prisoner, but because you're the future. Everything made sense now. Why they didn't kill her, why they kept her alive, why they handed her to a human, hoping he would break her spirit. It was never about the joke, it was a test, and she had passed it. By refusing to become like them. Rena stood before the human council that evening. They all stared at her. She spoke slowly, clearly. My people want war, but not all of them. Some want peace. Like me. A woman asked, Why should we risk human lives for you? Rena replied. Because I am not asking you to fight for me. I'm asking you to fight for what's right. I was given to a human as a joke, but he didn't laugh. He protected me. He fed me. He taught me kindness. She paused, then looked at Mason. And now, I want to protect him, just like he protected me. Outside the base, defenses were raised. Soldiers stood ready. Tensions were high. In space, the alien fleet was near, just hours away. In her room, Rena picked up the wooden bird again. Mason entered quietly. Are you okay? He asked. She nodded. I just never thought I would be the reason for war. You're not the reason, he said gently. You're the reason we have a chance to stop one. She looked at him. Softly, she said, If I go back, they'll kill me. Then you're not going back. He reached out and held her hand. We fight. Together. That night, the first alien ship entered Earth's orbit. Rena stood with Mason on the command tower watching the stars. The warning lights turned red. The time had come. War or peace. Her choice would decide. The choice. Rena stood in a dark room surrounded by her people. Her hands were tied. Her old commander stepped forward and dropped a knife at her feet. Kill the human, he said, and we will welcome you back. She looked down at the blade. Her heart raced. This was the final test. 2 days earlier, Earth had refused to return Rena. Now the aliens had sent a secret team to take her by force. They struck at night, using shadows and speed. Rena was kidnapped. Mason tried to stop them, but he was hit and left unconscious. When he woke up, she was gone. Now inside a hidden alien ship, Rena faced her past. Her old commander, General Varric, paced in front of her. You disappoint me, Rena, he said. You were born to rule, to lead, but you let a human poison your mind. She said nothing. He picked up the knife again. This is simple. Kill him. Show us you are still one of us. Rena's fists tightened. I'm not yours anymore. She said, you carry royal blood, he snapped. That blood belongs to the Empire. She looked him in the eye. No, she said softly. It belongs to me, General Varric growled. You forget who gave you life. Rena raised her chin. No, I remember too well. You gave me orders. You gave me fear. But you never gave me life. He did. Back on Earth, Mason was in the medical bay. His head was bandaged, but he refused to rest. We have to find her, he said. Dr. Lin and General Brooks agreed. A tracker on Rena's arm still worked. She was on a stealth ship, hiding behind the moon. We have one shot, Mason said. We go in, we get her out. Meanwhile, inside the alien ship, a small group of rebels, aliens who believed in peace, secretly helped Rena. We've heard stories, one whispered. You speak of kindness. You are brave. Another added, if you escape, maybe others will follow. They gave her a small tool. Use this to break your cuffs when the time is right. Rena nodded. Her chance would come. Hours passed. Mason led a small human rescue team in a fast ship. They found the alien vessel, hidden behind the moon's shadow. They moved in quietly. The plan, no war, just rescue. But they knew it wouldn't be easy. Inside the alien ship, Rena was brought to a large room. An audience chamber. Alien leaders stood around her. General Varric gave her the knife again. Choose, he said. Why are you so afraid of one human? She asked. Because he made you believe in them, Varric growled. He made you weak. Rena took a deep breath. No, he made me strong. She dropped the knife. Varric's eyes burned with rage. You shame your bloodline. No, she said. I honor it. By changing it. Suddenly, she pressed the hidden tool to her cuffs. They broke with a soft snap. The guards rushed forward. Too late. Rena grabbed the knife not to kill but to defend. Just then the wall exploded. Smoke, light, fire. Mason stepped through the flames, leading the rescue. Rena! He shouted. She ran to him. Together they fought side by side. Just like in the prison escape. Alien rebels joined them. It was chaos, but it was also hope. In the end, they made it out. The human ship flew fast, leaving the damaged alien vessel behind. Rena sat beside Mason, her hands shaking. You came, she whispered. Always, he said. She looked at him, eyes full of emotion. I chose peace, she said. He smiled. You chose us. Later, back on Earth, the Human Council met again. This time something was different. Alien rebels had sent a message. We support Rena. We want change. Peace is possible. General Brooks looked at her. You may have started something bigger than all of us. Rena replied, I only did what was right. That night she stood outside watching the stars. Mason joined her. What now? She asked. He smiled. Now we build a future. The future heir.